On March 26, Benjamin Gantz, Netanyahu's opponent and the candidate for creating a coalition, decided he was going to go for a national unity government with Netanyahu. On that day I said that he might be the only one in Israel that doesn't know that within 6 months to a year after going into this rotation with Netanyahu, Netanyahu will come up with some kind of crisis to prevent Gantz from being prime minister. Well, I was bitterly wrong. It's happening right now. Tomorrow was supposed to be the last day for Gantz to create his coalition and to sign the treaty with the Likud. Depending who you ask, it seems like the Likud has been leading Gantz all along and then backed up in the last minute, right before signing the papers, and for the past week they actually haven't contacted each other at all, meaning that tomorrow Gantz loses his opportunity to create a government. He is able to ask the president, Ruby Rivlin, for an extension to create this coalition, but today he was denied. The mandate goes back to the Knesset and then probably given to Netanyahu. So Gantz just lost his chance to be prime minister, to change the future of Israel, to completely turn things around as he promised. Now, within these 2 weeks, there were so many warning signs because they said they were going for an emergency national unity government. Emergency. There's a corona crisis. Things are happening fast. Decisions have to be made. But as soon as they started negotiating, all of a sudden they started talking about who's going to be minister of what. Who's going to get what office? And instead of just creating a government and start dealing with this crisis, they started talking about a bloated 30-plus ministers government when usually there's about 20. This did not look like anything of an emergency. Well, keep in mind, all of this is happening where people are in a deep, deep financial crisis and they're going and just spending tax money as if nothing is going on. And there are two things that they ended up fighting over, or at least that's what they claim, and that's why they wouldn't sign the deal. One is the annexation of part of the West Bank, the Jordan Valley, which eventually Gantz caved on that. And the other one is the way judges are nominated in Israel. Keep in mind, Netanyahu has an upcoming trial for 3 very serious charges, and this is something that the Likud has been very much pushing towards, changing the way judges are nominated, elected, and who actually ends up being a judge in Israel. If Gantz would have just bothered looking at very recent history, he would have discovered that anyone that was offered by Netanyahu to go into a national unity government had their careers annihilated. Very recently, Gabbai, Bougie Herzog, Shaul Mofaz. The reason is that in the Israeli left, there's an expectation that if you say something, you stand by your word. During that week that they were not talking, Gantz still had the opportunity to make amends with Lapid, to go back to form a larger party, go back, speak to the Arab parties, actually make this happen, but he couldn't. To top all this off, Peretz, the leader of the Labour Party, announced last week that he was also going to join this national unity government led by Netanyahu. The Labour Party is supposed to be the leader of the opposition to the Israeli right. Not only that, his second in command, Peretz and Shmuli, number 2 in the party, is also joining this government. The 2 most important people in the Labour Party joined a government that represents everything, but everything they're supposed to be opposed to. There was a poll published saying that if elections were held today, the Labour Party would get 0 mandates. 0. This is Rabin's party, Peretz's party. This is supposed to be the second largest party, the leader of the Israeli left. By doing so, they've actually set the tombstone on the Labour Party.